Okay.
Go ahead, Mike.
It was a great place to have a meeting.
I don't know.
Who is that? Claudia, who is that guy? Who is that?
I thought so.
I thought so. Okay.
Go ahead, Mike.
Not Mike. Meeting will come to order, please. The notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act for this meeting have been satisfied. Would you please take a second, turn off electronic equipment as we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Johanna, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Becker?
Here.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Here.
Commissioner Blumberg?
I am here.
Okay. For those of you who haven't heard, today's a very good day for the city of Margate. Judge Mendez gave us a temporary restraining order against the Corps of Engineers and the DEP in Weeks Building. We have 8 days. He also ordered us to negotiate every day from now till next Friday, trying to get this problem resolved. I'm very proud of our attorneys, Jordan Rand, who was hired.
You got to talk.
Okay. Is it the system or is it me? Can you hear me now? Okay. Very proud of our attorneys, Jordan Rand, who was hired. I have the microphone by my left ear here, Doctor. Okay. Let's see if he can. It can't be me. It must be a technical problem.
People are basically kissing the speaker out there.
I thought this was going to run nice.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, they can.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Typically, I don't need a microphone.
Then,
Open the window.
okay,
I like.
let's go. Fred, are we okay?
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay.
As long as we speak up into the microphones,
Okay.
everybody will be able to hear from the diaphragm.
Pardon me? Compliments to our lawyer team, Jordan Rand, who was hired just yesterday, and he put this whole thing together, appeared today with our solicitor, Scott Abbott, before Judge Mendez, presented her case, and we won. We finally won. We're 1 for 3. If I was a baseball player, we'd be a superstar. So we now have 8 days. I've already received a call from the Deputy Commissioner of the DEP. We have a meeting scheduled tomorrow in Margate to start the negotiations. That's all good stuff. John, do you have an announcement?
Yeah, I just would like to make an announcement for the folks that are outside and the courtesy for the people in this building. For the people, when it comes to open public comment, we are going to have to ask somebody to step out, and we'll usher the individuals in that want to give their comments to everybody. So we have to be cooperative because it's a public safety issue. We're at maximum capacity in the room, so as we bring people in, somebody's going to have to exit temporarily. So we appreciate the cooperation that we can all work together. Thank you.
And I would like to add, we anticipated the crowd today. Thanks to Fred for getting the speakers outside. We tried to have the meeting moved. There's no sound system at the municipal complex on Union Avenue, so that wasn't going to work. And the Performing Arts Center is under construction, so that wouldn't work. So we're doing the best we can to try and manage. Typically, we have 3 or 4 people at our regular commission meetings, so this is a pretty big number, and I wanted to thank everybody that came out for coming out, and we're excited to hear your comments and any concerns that you might have moving forward. So thank you.
Mr. Deeney has a statement.
Thank you, Mayor. Those of you who have been following this issue closely for the last couple of years, and some of you for 20 years, but certainly for the last couple of years, know that I put together a chronology that I updated people on periodically at these public meetings. This chronology goes back to September 4th, 2014, and it includes today. I'm obviously not going to read all these 14 pages of the chronology today, but to say to you that it's all now posted, it's been posted on the website, but it's been updated as of today because of the decision that Judge Mendez made at 1:30 this afternoon. I would encourage you to go to our city website and familiarize yourself with the most recent history of the last 3 years with regard to this issue. I'm just going to read three actually dated inputs since the last time I've actually made a public presentation. On July 17th, or approximately that date, and that's when I wrote this, on this date, the Army Corps Beach Fill project began in earnest in Margate after many schedule changes. Almost immediately, it became apparent that the excavation of several feet adjacent to the bulkheads to create water staging areas, which were designed to percolate within 24 hours, was not a viable solution for drainage. At many meetings during the previous 6 months with NJDEP officials, Margate stood firm regarding the lack of viability of the engineering design. It seemed over time that DEP engineers began to have doubts as well, but were at that time committed to the project to which they agreed to be constructed by the Army Corps contractors. The DEP continued to assure Margate that they would rectify any drainage issues caused by the projects as they had done in testimony at the city trial before Judge Mendez. On page 55 of the decision by Judge Mendez, that's the previous decision a year ago, the judge says, and I quote, Mr. Watson, who is a member of the Army Corps of Engineers, Mr. Watson indicated that the Army Corps could not construct a project that would cause additional problems without addressing that problem. That's in the federal law. The judge then quoted the federal law and quoted Mr. Watson, which we have been relying on since. In other words, the Army Corps is committed to resolving the drainage issue and to work with the city of Margate to find an acceptable solution. That is in Judge Mendez's previous decision to allow this project to move forward. It was his understanding, based on testimony from the federal government and the state, that they would work with us and correct any drainage problems that we had brought to their attention for several years. We never thought this project would work the way it was designed. Now, updating to yesterday. On August 2nd, the Margate Board of Commissioners held a special public meeting for the sole purpose of discussing the extensive ponding behind the dunes caused by the accumulation of stormwater that had not percolated into the sandy soil as designed by the Army Corps of Engineers. This ponding is occurring in an approximate 18-block area where the Army Corps contractor has begun executing the design project. By a vote of 3-0, on the advice of the solicitor, the commission authorized Jordan Rand, Esquire, now with the firm of Claire Harrison Harvey and Brandsburg out of Philadelphia, to prepare court documents to seek to restrain the federal project from continuing in Margate until some time when the drainage issue can be resolved. The formal acceptance of the proposal and awarding of the formal contract is scheduled for later today, because we technically haven't even awarded the contract to him, but he began working, and he, in earnest, working with our solicitor, obviously got the results we wanted in the most timely way that we could even have hoped for. Today, August 3rd, on this date, at an emergency hearing before Judge Mendez, Jordan Rand, Esquire, and City Solicitor Scott Abbott successfully argued the need for temporary restraining order. That's what it is, a TRO, a temporary restraining order, to halt beach fill construction for 1 week, which is really 8 days. It goes now till Friday, to propose a solution for drainage satisfactory to the city of Margate. The parties are to meet within the next 7 days, at which time they are due back in court before Judge Mendez to see if the temporary restraining order can be lifted or if it should be retained. So the next, as I understand it, I'm not a lawyer, but as I understand it, the next time we are due back in court is next Friday, and the judge will make a decision then either to continue the restraining order, which stops all work by the Army Corps as of today until next Friday. So it'll be stopped at least until next Friday. It could continue, but it may be lifted next Friday, pending on what the judge hears from the parties, which would be Margate and the state of New Jersey. As the mayor indicated, they're working on trying to begin the negotiations in earnest tomorrow. When I say begin, we've been talking to the state for 4 years, but in earnest, in my opinion, for the last 6 months. The state has some ideas based upon our own engineers' ideas of different ways to help with the drainage on our beaches at the cost of millions of dollars, of which they wanted us to contribute a substantial portion of. We have resisted that so far. So when the state says, oh, we didn't cooperate, well, we didn't cooperate by coming up with $5 or $10 million. No, we haven't. But we have been talking to them. But now the pressure's on, and the burden's really on the state and the federal government to come up with a plan. But we will begin talking in earnest. That's up to date as of 10 after 4 this afternoon. Many of you may have seen it. It was live streamed today. Although the quality wasn't excellent, I was not in the courtroom, and I was able to understand it. So stay connected with your elected people, you stay connected with your media people. I think you can stay as up to date as we are on this issue. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Rich. Once again, we've already heard from the DEP. Our first meeting is tomorrow at 11 o'clock in Margate. So we will change the agenda format somewhat. We're going to open up now so that you people can speak. We will open for public comment. You have 3 minutes to talk. Come to the microphone, your name and address. Sharon, you're first.
All my addresses?
Just one, Sharon.
Okay. My name is Sharon Iannoli, and I manage the 9600 condominium building between Monroe and Madison Avenues, and I'm here today as a representative of 246 concerned unit owners. We love our city and beaches and have a valid concern about the dune project as designed. Our building was designed in '75 with 5 low-lying scuppers, which are roof drains. I brought an exhibit for you to see, that collect rainwater from our roof and already empty onto the beach through the bulkhead. During Superstorm Sandy, the water level was so high against our bulkhead that the scuppers were dammed by the high water table and sand, and as a result, the water backed up into our building, flooding the entire first floor, our elevator pits, and our garage, doing $1.5 million in damage. The current failed drainage design of the dune has only been tested on the north side of the building, and we can only imagine compounding that ponding situation with the runoff from our building. The design could undermine the foundation of the building and potentially back up once again on that first floor. We feel it's very irresponsible to proceed with any additional dune construction when clearly the introduction of the swale and perk time are both failures and a new plan must be established. We compel you to urge the Army Corps of Engineers and Weeks Marine to do the responsible thing for our city and our building, and insist that they do a site survey of our building's drainage situation before they build anything on the south side in front of these high rises. Thank you for permitting me to speak, and I'd like to thank Mayor Becker, the commissioners, and Mr. Abbott for their diligent work in this situation. John has been at our meetings speaking to our residents, and we thank you so much for that, keeping us informed.
Sharon, can we have a copy of that? Can I have a copy of it?
That's what the swale is, their slide was down. Good, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yep.
My name is Stan Silverman, 108 South Douglas. I live on the street that has been flooded for 3 days, actually 4 days. It's just unfortunate that Judge Mendez found for the Army Corps and not the city back a year and a half ago. I was there for 2 days, as you know. And it's just unfortunate that they didn't spend the money to beef up the bulkheads, which would have been a permanent solution for 50 years or longer. So now we have this problem, which we all knew percolation wasn't going to work. I've had a lot of conversation with Ed Wahlberg about this. My concern is that my street pitches down to the beach, and it needs to be trenched out every time it rains, which is no big deal. That's the way it's been done for 50 or longer years. We call the city, and the next day or within hours, depending upon the situation, we get trenched out. We can't trench out now because of the dunes. Spent a lot of time personally with the Army Corps of Engineers. Personally, a lot of lunches were bought to try to convince them that they needed to address the drainage issue on Douglas Avenue. Well, guess what? They didn't. The street flooded to the extent where to get out Saturday morning, people had to drive halfway on the sidewalk and halfway on the street. So I would hope that this 1 week temporary restraining order doesn't prevent them from going back and fixing our street, because if it rains hard tomorrow, we got a big problem. So this has nothing to do with the dunes. We need to fix the drainage on Douglas Avenue, or else we're in real trouble. We're in real trouble. So that's what I wanted to say. I think Ed Wahlberg's solution, which is the $10 million piping solution, is the way to go if we keep the dunes. They need to pay for it, not us. They need to pay for it. They need to bury the pipes so it's not an eyesore. Quite frankly, I'd like to see the dunes filled in and the bulkheads beefed up. That's I think that's Mari's solution also, but that may not happen. So that's all I want to say today. I do want to thank all of you, John, Mike, Mari, Scott, and Ed, for all you've done for us in representing us. You've really did a yeoman's work, and congratulations today on the judgment. And I think it's really important that it was Judge Mendez that made the decision, because he basically reversed himself from a year and a half ago. So it's important that he is the guy that did it today. Thank you.
He's a superstar today, Stan.
Can I ask Frank a question?
Sure.
You want to keep it?
No,
It's in reference to his question.
go ahead. Frank.
Through the chair, I have a question for our Public Works Director. Mr. Silverman brings up a good point, because as we all have visited those streets, and I know Frank's well aware of it, we might be in a situation with a temporary restraining order that the contractor will not be able to perform work in the city of Margate. That's how the judge ruled. Do we have a way? I know our conventional way is blocked because the dune's built. Do we have pumps that we can, in an emergency, pump down Douglas Avenue so that the residents don't have to go through 6 to 8 inches of water to get to their vehicles?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll be in tune for that.
Yep.
Thank you, Frank.
Ma'am,
Hi.
I'm sorry.
Nothing
Talk
really,
to a microphone.
nothing really formally prepared, but similar
Your
to
name and address first.
Randy Hurwitz, 9300 Atlantic Avenue, the Shore Club. Our building is on the beach, similar to 9600. However, our building was built as an apartment building in the 60s. The front of our building facing the beach, where we have apartments and residences, it's basically below, I guess you would call it grade, if you're familiar with our building. We were told that the sand would be dug out to the bottom of the bulkhead. I assume similar to what is going on down at the beginning of Margate. After seeing the pictures of what is happening at the beginning of Margate, we are of course concerned about the integrity of our building. How that water that pools there will impact our building, the foundation, built in the 60s. I assume today the building could not be built that way. If there are studies done, which will be introduced similar to what the member of the 9600 apartment building said, we certainly need to be considered very strongly for that. We are concerned about the integrity of the building, the water seeping in below the bulkhead, our apartments, our common areas are below grade, and that certainly is a serious problem that we feel will negatively impact not only our residents, the health, public concern, safety, real estate values. In addition, our pool is direct access to the beach, if you're familiar with the building. We are concerned about how the building of the dunes will impact the equipment, the machinery, of course, the aesthetics, I don't have to talk about that. You know what that will do to our aesthetics. Folks will be looking out at a dune, which certainly aesthetically is not pleasing for the people who live in the bottom apartments. Other people think we are selfish for being concerned with that, but now there's a public safety issue with unhealthy, stagnant water that could be mosquito laden. And, you know, we have children, older folks, and we are concerned, and hopefully someone will look into how that will impact our building. We are concerned for all of our residents, but we are really in the center of such, you know, concern because of the same concerns as 9600.
We will make sure that that gets on the table. Okay?
Thank you, I appreciate it, and thank you for all of your work.
Thank you.
Mike, can I just add one thing? The preliminary idea that we're discussing as of 3 or 4 o'clock today is that, and at least my demand, and I hope that Mike and John, and I'm pretty sure they will, follow suit. My demand is going to be that these lagoons be filled in and the beach graded back to the way it was. And thank you. I just want to say that I'm going to push to and fight for nothing short of that. In addition, the solution to the drainage issue is theirs. The solution has to be theirs. It's going to be their design, and it's not for me, and I think I can speak for Mike and John, going to include exposed outfall pipes the length of Margate City. We will not accept that. They're going to have to come up with a solution that safely gets this water off of our beach and that does not include any ponds, any percolation system, and any outfall pipes that we're going to have to look at, or we're going to continue to fight. That's all I have to say.
Hi, my name is Bob Churkin, 14 North Union Avenue. I just have a question. Any place we look, whether it's Ventnor, Atlantic City, or Ocean City, the dunes are back at their boardwalk. There's almost no gap between the dunes and the walkways. I don't understand why our dunes are so far away from the bulkhead. It just doesn't make any sense. And plus, what I've heard is that they're going to reduce the number of handicap accesses to our beaches, which impacts not only the handicap, but young people with little kids and all the paraphernalia that they take. So I just need some more information. Thank you.
We will get that for you starting tomorrow, as we had this conversation the other day. They kind of rammed down our throats, this program. I think tomorrow is the beginning of a new day. Everything's back on the table, including handicap access.
Please.
Okay?
Mike, if I may.
You may.
I'm sorry. And so I want to, because I know a little bit about trying to answer your question. Part of the Army Corps and DEP's fuzzy math was that in order for their percolation system to work, they had to locate the dune some 20 feet from the bulkhead. And so that's why you're seeing these dunes in some locations further out than in others. And Mr. Wahlberg and I discussed this briefly. He could probably elaborate a little bit on that. The design that they have is flawed, and we now all know it. And the location of those dunes is just wrong. It's wrong.
Right.
Okay.
Ed, can you just...
Isn't that the simple solution, to just move them back?
But what we've been told by the Army Corps and the DEP is that it's very difficult to construct the dune with radical changes in direction. The reason Atlantic City, Ocean City, Ventnors are close and straight is because they have a boardwalk to follow. It's a straight line, essentially. Our bulkheads they vary by hundreds of feet from the water line, back and forth. So what they try to do, apparently, this is what I've been told, is they start at the boardwalk and they shoot for one of the sections of our bulkhead that sticks out, and and they run that way. When they hit that, they go to the next one. So we will request, can you make more severe turns? But what I have been told in the past, and this is, when I say the past, from 1999 when they first proposed this, is that they cannot do radical quick changes in direction, and that's part of the reason that you're seeing this. Because when you get near Douglas or you get Exeter, Essex, where the bulkheads stick out, you'll see the dune will be 20 to 25 feet there. As soon as you get past that area, the bulkhead drops way back towards Atlantic Avenue. So then they shoot for the next area that sticks out. And that's what's creating these large openings, because they can't cut right back in.
Well, they need to look at something new.
I don't disagree.
Adrian Schuster, 307 North Douglas Avenue, Margate. Mr. Mayor, commissioners, and friends and neighbors. I'm not an activist. You don't see me at these meetings. I don't like to get involved. However, when I see this, it's heartbreaking. I feel that I just have to speak up. I don't really think that this is thought out. I know it's not. It doesn't take a genius to know that this isn't thought out. I did mention yesterday about the news coming out of Philly, about the bodies of water, West Nile virus and everything. We're not a third world country that we should have this. This is ridiculous. They're supposed to be educated people that did this. What is this plan? That we have all this water. We never had it before. I want it gone. Then I hear that they're thinking about building something that you could walk over this cesspool that has been created. That is putting a Band-Aid on cancer. It doesn't work. Good, because I will not walk over it. And for me, as a taxpayer in this city and all of us, why would we even consider paying for their blunders? Who's making all this money? And they've ruined our community. This year, maybe the people in business are getting along okay. What about next year? Hey, we're not going to Margate. Did you see that dump? It's ridiculous. So I feel badly for everybody that has a business here. And then, I just don't want the contaminated water. I think that our tax dollars should be put to good use. If they had a viable, good plan, all right, so change could be good, but this is a nightmare. And in closing, they broke it. They should fix it. If they can't fix it, somebody should say, you're fired.
Go home.
I mean, make it right. Make our beaches that we could go on the beaches. Have any of them brought their kids and grandkids to frolic in it yet? It's very sad, and I thank you for trying to make this right. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie.
Sewell, 22 West Drive. Mayor, Joe Zatuni asked me to tell you in no uncertain terms that you knowingly, willfully, and deliberately ignored and dismissed his repeated pleas for a master jetty to preclude your total snafu of the stagnant septic wastewater ponding between the dunes and bulkhead. Instead, Mayor, you squandered $250,000. Mayor, your demented spendthrift mindset has cost taxpayers dearly, and at the same time left you self-satisfied that throwing hundreds of thousands of dollars at the dune fiasco would somehow suffice. You scoffed and scowled at the idea of taking the Acela to Washington, D.C. to lobby Frank Lobiondo, Bob Mendez, and Cory Booker to pressure the Army Corps to fund a master jetty. Second, I specifically urged our assemblyman to go to Trenton to get his Goomba Paisan rotund rhino, El Duce, to reconsider, hold that time, Fred, to reconsider and modify his executive order. This is the governor's baby. And we have Republicans here who are getting diddly from Trenton. Shame on you for not lobbying nonstop, 24/7, 365. Third, I strongly urge an injunction based on EPA regulations, since dredging destroys the ocean floor ecosystem. This injunction litigation could have been instituted in Atlantic City on Bacharach Boulevard at a mere pittance of the third of $1 million blown on a dubious, supposedly politically connected law firm. This local injunctive initiative is so simple, even the village idiot could have filed the suit. I also urged, when the 4 beachfront neighbors went into federal court, to file an amicus curiae brief.
Wasn't for it.
Whatever it was, Mayor, I'm not here to quibble.
You know me with numbers, John.
Yes.
I'm not letting you get
At
away
this,
with
at this
squat.
octogenarian stage, I don't want to confuse your mind with numbers.
Thank you.
Oh. Where were these achy breaky people when Dan Gottlieb and the rest of the people were here fighting week after week after week against this snafu? Fourth, avenue of redress would have been equally nefarious endeavor by enlisting Margate's most infamous Ganav, Casino Jack Abramoff, who could have been far more successful in greasing the skids in D.C. The efforts to get funding 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Adam.
Chuck?
Well, that's a tough act to follow. Chuck Cavanaugh, 10 South Brunswick Avenue, or right at the heart of Lake Christie, obviously. Anybody that knows me knows I could speak about the dunes for hours, but I promise you I won't. I have this thing down in about 2 minutes. First of all, I'd like to really thank you. Unlike the previous, I think you guys have been doing a great job. Very much appreciate that you went to court, and good job getting a win for us today. I think for the opponents, and I assume we're pretty much all opponents by this point now that we've seen what the disaster is, need to have a unified voice and send one message. And that message is that this is a fundamentally flawed plan that cannot be bandaged or tweaked or modified and be okay. The problem isn't when they're doing it. The problem isn't how they're doing it. The problem isn't where they're doing it. The problem is that they're doing it. Amazingly, the dune boggle, as I like to call it, has actually already caused more problems, more damage to our beach than any storm we've ever had. I'm gonna let that fact percolate just for a minute. I'll let that percolate for a minute. Maury, you hit it on the head. There's one answer to this dilemma, and only one, and it's to put the sand, every last grain of the sand, back where it was, back where they found it. If that's Weeks Marine does it, that's fine. If we let them go out of town and Fred and the boys do it, that's fine with me too. However it happens, we bulldoze that dune back into the trench they dug, regrade the beach, and go on with our lives. I know this fight is, if it goes, we go to war, as Scott said, if that's what happens, we go to war, so be it, we go to war. It's going to be expensive. We got that. I think we all know it. In the long run, it's cheap. You're talking about your crown jewel here. Do not put any artificial caps on how we're going to fight this battle. Don't fight the battle with one hand tied behind your back. Spend what you need to. The last commissioner who put a cap on it was resoundingly bounced out of office immediately. And I think the people here are going to let you know they want to spend the money. They want to make this fight happen. Finally, under no circumstances are you to enter into any agreement with the DEP or the Army Corps of Engineers that locks us into anything. The Army Corps of Engineers, if you know anything about them, a huge percentage of their projects are fixing damages caused by previous Army Corps of Engineer projects. That's how they operate, okay? They're not here to help us. They don't understand our problem, nor do they care about it, nor do they understand basic engineering, obviously. So that's about all I have to say. Again, I really hope, thank you guys for your work, and keep it up, keep the fight.
Thank you, Chuck.
Good morning, or good afternoon, gentlemen. Jeff Hurwitz, 9300 Shore Club, 9300 Atlantic Avenue. Spoke to you guys before. Appreciate all the efforts you're doing on behalf of everybody in this room and everybody in this whole area. The wisdom I want to know, and maybe you can answer this again. I'm not quite sure about it. Maybe many people aren't. Why not improve the bulkhead, which has permanence to it, rather than put up sand dunes, which are just grains of sand put together, which can wash away in any big storm? We've had a back bay problem for years here, not a front of the ocean problem, but a back bay issue. Why have they been so stubborn with this whole thing? It's just 127 miles of Christie project they want, and that's it? I mean, basically, is that the whole story?
Pretty much, pretty much.
That's pretty much. Can you again ask them the wisdom of having this whole issue here at all? Why they're even having this issue?
We can do that.
Because when you think about it, it's just nonsensical. We don't need to have this.
That's an understatement,
Yeah.
Curtis.
Well, for what it's worth, thank you again for your efforts, and keep on keeping on. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Jeff, for 1 second, I just want you to know that we're in receipt of your engineer's letter dated the 20th of July. On my agenda for today was the discussion with the commissioners, the mayor and the commissioners, so that we could get answers for you. If it's my call and I have to talk with our engineer, any city permits will waive due to the mandate that the state has put on us. It's not your responsibility to have to pay for that. We'll just have to find out. We'll just have to find out on the other side with, CAFR or whatever other issues there might be. But your suggestions are all in writing here, and we're going to work to achieve them for you.
Sir.
My name is Stephen Earlbaum. I'm at 114 South Barclay Avenue
Thank you, Mr. Earl.
in Margate. I love the town. You might want to call all of us selfish, like our great governor has when he hogs the beaches to himself and his family. I thank the mayor and the commissioners for trying to put up a good fight and avoid this disaster. But anything short of knocking these dunes down, I and many other people will consider an absolute defeat. We appreciate the fact that you gave us a voice. However, you said you're going to start negotiations and it's going to take, you have up to 8 days. What I think I would like to know, and probably other people, is exactly what are you trying to negotiate? So I'd like to hear from you and then comment. Can you tell us what you're planning on negotiating?
Well, you want me to start?
Mr. Obama, I would like to negotiate them going away and never coming back to Margate. Now, I don't know if that's realistic or not. It's very difficult dealing with these people. I was very excited when coming out of this because they called and set up the meeting, which I just see they just canceled for tomorrow. So that's basically what we're dealing with here. I will give you my word that we will get the best deal that we can possibly get dealing with these.
What's the deal you want?
I just told you.
You want it?
Knock them down and go away.
And do you think that's a possibility?
I hope so. I don't know.
I doubt it. And many people have been talking in here that will, including me, I'm happy to lie down in front of the machine and never move. Let them lock us up, okay? We're sick of this. We want to defend our properties.
If you think we've had media coverage the last couple of days, let's all get together and lie on the beach. We'll really do it.
I don't know. I don't know if the town realizes it's in serious danger because the quality of life and the value of our properties is going to go down significantly, and you're going to have a problem with real estate taxes. So we're going to have less services and a major problem. What do you have to say about that?
I think we all agree with you, and we're going to work to get the best answers that we can get and the best results that we can get.
Well, I don't think that we should give in anywhere short of knocking these damn dunes down. Thank you.
Steve Warner, 103 North Sumner Avenue. Well, I must say they certainly made a mess of it. It's really quite a mess down there. But I was just wondering, I got a little bit of information possibly you could impart to me, Mayor. When the Army Corps came here or whatever, did they just come here and start making the dunes, or was there some like plans drawn up that were submitted? No, I mean, I don't know. They just came and started ripping up the beach. Is that what they did?
I doubt that. I think they had plans. They weren't very good.
But
they
were
did
the
have
plans, I mean, did anybody in the city government look at these plans?
We were aware of what they were going to do, but they
Yeah.
haven't really followed through with what they really said they were going to do.
Okay, well, I mean, so in other words, they kind of said what was going to happen, and then, I mean, maybe some of these alarm bells should have gone off. I mean, anybody knows that's lived here since they were 10 years old, if you dig down a foot on the beach, you're going to hit water. So if somebody's going to go down 2 feet, what do you think is going to happen? I mean, that was incredibly stupid, and I can't believe that somebody didn't see that. Somebody here in the government didn't pick that up.
Oh, come on. Well, come on, Steve. Steve, that's not being fair to anybody.
Okay. Okay.
Come on.
We've been on top of this
Right.
since the start. We witnessed wet sand on Argyle Avenue,
Right.
never to leave us.
Right.
We brought it to the attention of both the DEP and the Army Corps with many meetings. And the three of us sat in those meetings, and they were saying back to us, they see it, they're trying to figure out whether it was water table or there was something wrong in the design. This is what we were fed. And we understand, we want to restore our beach.
Right.
We have our goals, but our hands are tied. There was a
Okay.
contract awarded, and we have to get the best solution.
Okay.
That no water
Hey, look, I'm
lays
with
on
you.
our streets.
Right, I'm with you. But let's keep in mind too, listen, I want to support you guys 100%, but let's get to the facts. You know, a lot of this here is just fantasy, okay? I don't live in fantasy land. The fact of the matter is, for 100 years, the beach block has drained on the beach, okay? I mean, that's been a problem for 100 years. So this isn't just digging down 2 feet. Yeah.
But Steve,
Yes.
we all know that it's drained on the beach for 100
Right.
years, but we dug trenches to the ocean. That's how we resolved it.
Okay.
We
Well, then
can't
that's-
do that anymore because there's a dune
Well, they're
there.
going to have to do that. Yeah, they're going to have to do that. Yeah, right. That's what they're going to have to do. All right, that's all I have to say. Let's go into this, not in a fantasy land. All right. And listen, if you need me to come in there and be a heavy, I'm right there.
What's that?
Hi, my name is Barbara Silver, and I live at 14 North Adams Avenue. And I really want the dunes to be, go away and get back to normal life here. But my concern is more safety now for all of our kids, our grandkids, and ourselves that are swimming in this ocean that's toxic. And I just feel really bad that all of us are swimming out there now and not really knowing whether we're safe or not. There is a website, NewJerseyBeaches.com, that you used to be able to go on and be able to tell you the tables of the water, what was safe and not. 4 weeks ago, it was taken down and it says restricted. So what is going on? Are we safe in this water? Are our kids safe? Why aren't our beaches closed then? My nephews ended up in the hospital at the surf beach. What's going on?
Ma'am, we have closed beaches as a precaution. Fredericksburg to Gladstone, which, quote unquote, the dunes are completed where we had the trouble with the accumulated water in Margate Lake.
But you just pumped it in the ocean, didn't
I
you?
did not pump it.
Not you, whoever
But
did.
can I finish?
Yes.
Our main concern is public safety and public health safety.
Thank you.
We closed those beaches because I physically, 7 o'clock in the morning, put all the yellow ribbon on every street end. Not employees, I did.
But you can't tell
just
me.
let me finish.
Okay,
I'm speaking. I'll give you the floor when I'm done.
thank you.
I closed the entrances because we had a mass volume of water. We got preliminary bacteria counts from testing that we did, the city of Margate did, at the request of the mayor and Commissioner Blumberg.
Thank you.
We had tests done. The initials weren't real bad, but there was bacteria. For the safety of our people, our residents, and our visitors, we closed access, which basically shut the dunes, the beaches on the other side, even though they weren't shut. The day they started pumping, I closed the beaches for swimming. The DEP came down on Tuesday and tested the water quality in the ocean. We got those results, Wednesday. We got those results today. They did their process. The numbers are low. The dissipation rate, spread it out. Not to say there wasn't things pumped into the ocean that shouldn't have been pumped in the ocean. But as of today, for discussion with the commissioners and the mayor, we're going to decide to open those beaches up because there have been temporary sand walkways completed today while we were in court, because one of our requests was we had no access. I don't want kids walking through the muck and that slop that was existing there. So I'm just trying to get our beaches open, and I won't open them up unless they're safe.
Okay.
That's my job.
How often are you going to be testing Margate? Not anybody else, but our own city. These waters, because it is
Waters
scary.
get tested on a regular basis
But
every
where?
Monday.
How often? Like, is it just one area, or is it
It's
all? What do you mean by all?
They pick 3 spots.
Three spots every month? Okay.
Every Monday.
Every Monday.
Every Monday. Okay. All right.
Ma'am, I find that a little offensive. We've worked really hard trying to control this nonsense that's going on. And I've been down to the beach probably 4 times a day, every day, and including the day that they started to pump. And I went to the person who's from the DEP. I said, please do not pump. We're testing these waters. The results will be back at 3 o'clock this afternoon. They wouldn't even wait. They pumped the contaminants into the ocean.
Right.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
Right.
But
Well-
I don't want you to think that we're not doing
No,
anything
I
for
feel
them.
better knowing that our town is doing the testing and we're not relying on the state to do our testing for us. And we should have access. We should have it on the website or something.
It
where
is
our
on the
water-
website.
Okay, good. Thank you.
But just for the security of everybody in this room, the state DEP numbers that came in today are very close to where our numbers, we absolutely, what I call in our live swimming areas, we have safe conditions for people to swim.
Well, have you heard a number of people getting sick from being in the water?
I've
And
heard some.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
It's more on the landward side of the dune where the issues came. We
Okay.
have 2 lifeguards that have bacteria infections as of today.
Okay.
And that's from them walking through to get their life-saving equipment to their boats and to their stands.
Well, I feel better hearing that from you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Come on.
The pumping's been done, we tested it afterwards.
Okay, so my name's Ed Seibert. I'm on South Brunswick, and I just want to thank you all for the work that you've done. 103 South Brunswick. So I want to thank you guys for what you've done, because I've read the whole court decision, and I think the arguments that you presented were excellent arguments that the court just completely ignored. And they basically took the word of the leader of the project, who said that they had modeled a solution whereby they would create these ponds and the water would percolate in. And that's the judge, who was the same judge who ruled today, but ruled against us in 2016, ruled that they were correct based on the testimony of one guy who's like this guy, Ken Watson, who's the leader of, or Keith Watson, who's the head of the local ACOE. So I don't think you could be faulted. You fought it in court, and the judge, I think, made a ridiculous decision based on very weak testimony with absolutely no objective information to back it up. Just one person's opinion who was obviously clearly biased, and now is certainly proven to be either a liar or just completely wrong and incompetent. So there's no other way around it. So, looking through, it's very interesting to read through the 65-page decision. And they basically conceded, the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection conceded that our bulkheads would withstand a 30-year storm, but they overruled us because they concluded that it wouldn't withstand a 50 to 100-year storm. So now we're in the middle of this because of the hypothetical 50 to 100-year storm, which is ridiculous. So, one of their concerns was that with just a bulkhead alone and no dune in front of it, that the wave action would cause the bulkhead to collapse, which seems a little ridiculous to me. But anyway, so I'm in the northern part of Margate, where I applaud your getting the injunction. I think it's the right thing. I agree with what was said earlier, that this project should just stop and things should go back to the way they were. But I'm not a strong believer that that's actually going to happen. We're a small city fighting, again, the Army Corps of Engineers and the entire state of New Jersey. So I was trying to think of what the easiest solution would be in my mind. And to me, it would be to punch holes in the dune, break up the dune so that there are breaks where the water can go through, take that sand and move it back and create a dune behind the front dunes so that there's an area where water can get around and through. There's still a dune that covers the entire length of the city, but there's area where water can get around it. The water between the bulkhead and the dune can then get around it. I've drawn a picture that my kids would probably do a better one than this, but I know it's basically the bulkhead. This is where the water is now. They take these dunes, move them back, then they fill this area back in with sand the way it was before, so it's graded down to the ocean. So I agree, it doesn't, I would prefer things go back the way they were too. I have my doubts that that's going to be possible. But then, this was my basic idea of what this would look like. I mean, again, it's childlike, but it is just an immediate solution, something they could do tomorrow. They could go in, bump holes in the dunes, push that sand back, and that would be an immediate fix that then would give time for a longer-term solution or for a way to work this out. But.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got your email. Okay, very much. You saw my answer here, right?
Sharon Simon, 424 North Thurlow Avenue, Margate. Just quickly in response to this individual who obviously spent a lot of time and thought, there is still one safety issue without the water issue, is that you can't see kids playing between the dune and the bulkhead, and we don't have any lifeguards there. So obviously with the water there, it compounds that, but that's still a safety issue. I also want to thank everybody from the community who has gone to Margate Citizens Questioning the Beach Project, Facebook, put videos on. It's really great. I just want to acknowledge Dan Gottlieb and Glenn and myself and Vaughn Reel. We discussed whether we should take the Facebook page down. We felt we did everything we could. No, this was before, after the judge ruled against us. And we said, well, let's leave it up just in case. So I'm glad that we left it up, and I'm glad everybody is using it, and it's a great way to connect. The other thing is that we have a lieutenant governor, Kim Guadagno, is that how you say it? She's running for governor. And she came to our meeting and kind of poo-pooed our reason and said this is a good project because Christie ruled. And she just slammed Governor Christie for sitting on the beach. So I think that his beach that he closed down, I think that we all should speak out to her, express what's going on. She obviously has relationships with people in the state. And if she wants our vote, she's got to do something, and I think that might be helpful. So, thank you. And I also want to say that everybody's upset, and there's a lot of reasons to be upset, but to stand up here and point fingers is not helping us. Let's all be united. And finally, I just want to say really quickly that Steve Warner, from the beginning of this project, along with the concerned citizens, fought it tooth and nail. We don't want to spend money. It will be good, with the former commissioner, Brenda Tobby. And so for him to sit up here and say you're in la-la land, which he often is, and that you didn't do anything about it is as wrong as possibly. It is not the truth. I was here at every single meeting. My co-partners can say the same. He was against it. He spoke up here constantly against it. So to come up here and attack you is just wrong. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon.
Good afternoon, Harris Fishman, 107 South Barclay Avenue, right in the center of the swamp. My comments will be very brief. Thank you for everything that you guys have done. Congratulations on the short victory today. Very short ask. The workers today were putting up these ramps, the sand ramps. The person I spoke to said they're going to do every other street. It took about 30 minutes start to finish to do one. So my ask would be make sure that they're working 24 hours a day, make sure they get every single street done, because it's not going to be handicapped accessible, obviously, if you've got to walk left and right. So it doesn't take that long. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Pardon? Yes.
My name is Howard Alderson, 22 South Franklin. Lived there for 29 years. We're calling this Ground Zero. It's where the lake occurs. And I have more of an immediate question or comment. Right now, I have elderly family members and young children, and the elderly people can't get over the dune the way it is right now to get to the beach. I'm afraid to put my young grandchildren in the water right now because of the pumping that took place. What I'm asking of Margate right now is two things. One is either to provide some kind of a shuttle that would take the affected people down at the north end of Margate and shuttle them up to maybe the beaches that haven't been affected yet, or at least give us some kind of parking relief so that we can get in our cars and maybe park at the beach block or some place where we can just not avoid that until after this has been resolved. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Gentlemen, my name is Ed Berger, 9402 Amherst Avenue. I'm also the president of the Margate Business Association. I want to thank all of you very much for the efforts you're making, not on your own behalf, on behalf of the citizens, but certainly on behalf of all the very impacted businesses, the small businesses, the family businesses that comprise the Margate business community. There are 107 of us all together. Each and every one of us has been impacted severely by the Dune project, not only by the bad drainage situation, but by all the bad press that came along with it, which reduced significantly the number of visitors that came to our city during the course of this summer. I had the opportunity yesterday to read a number of emails from businesses that were directly affected into the record. I hope everybody takes a moment to review them and understand that the businesses we're talking about are not Home Depot. We're not talking about another Macy's closing down. We're talking about a group of business owners that several years ago were totally devastated by Hurricane Sandy. The state of New Jersey has done a remarkable job of making this the longest lasting hurricane in the history of hurricanes. The economic impact that the storm had initially on everyone who lived here was it not only destroyed their businesses, but it destroyed their homes. They leveraged everything they had to try and get back on their feet again. The businesses that you see that are open today are open because they reached down deep into every last dime of their savings to put their homes back together and to put their businesses back together. It infuriates me when I see in the press when people refer to Margate as a wealthy community. We're a community of hardworking people that are trying to go to work every day, do a good job for our community, and provide the services that the community needs on a day-to-day basis for it to be a successful community. There are not sagebrushes rolling down the street in Margate in the wintertime. We have an active full-time community here. We have an active business community here. It's because it's supported by the people who come here during the summertime, and our summertime business is remarkably off as a result of this project. So two things. First, thank you very much for all the efforts that you've put in to try and stop this project. Personally, not as the president of the association, I hope you can figure out a way to knock those damn dunes down. I really do. I'm a surf fisherman, I'm an angler, I stomp the beaches of Margate in the dark, and I'm going to tell you something, I don't want them there, and neither does anybody else that has an inkling of what it's doing to the ecology of our beachfronts. The second thing I'd like to also suggest, and this is not a selfish suggestion, but it's one I hope that everyone heeds, the business community in Margate really could use the support of everyone who's in the city now and the people who come to our city on weekends. Please shop locally. Please shop with these local vendors. Go to our local restaurants. Take out from our local restaurants. Don't go offshore when you need something. Come home. Come home to Margate.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Larry Stone. I live on a beachfront on Delavan and Margate. I'd like to congratulate 112 South Delavan Avenue. I'd like to congratulate all the commissioners and the legal staff of getting the TRO. Prior to coming here today, I was speaking to one of the city workers who had informed me about the news that there's a 7 or 8 day TRO issued and give time to negotiate with the state. In all probability, what's going to happen, and this is my opinion, in 7 or 8 days, there's not going to be a resolution, and there'll probably be an extension of that TRO until you can figure things out. But what this city worker said to me is that as of today, the DEP or the contractor is completely stopping everything that they're doing. So in the interim, until this is figured out, there's still ponds there. It could rain. We could have a storm next week. There could be a massive storm, and those ponds could fill up again. So my first question is, what is the plan? If these guys are going to be packing up, at least temporarily, and moving away, what is the plan? Was Margate allowed to rectify the situation? Are they not? Do they have their hands tied? What is the plan to remedy the short-term resolution? Because this is the heart of the summer, the beginning of August. Everyone here wants to enjoy the rest of the summer. So has anyone given any thought as to what's going to happen if these guys stop working today? I mean, they're putting sand back, but they're going to stop as of probably 6 o'clock this evening.
What I'd like to say is they won't be performing work, there won't be pumping, but there'll still be personnel on the job. They own the job right now, so they're responsible. So they have to stay here. They might not have a full staff of workers, but they'll have people here.
Well, they may have to stay here, but are they going to be putting sand? Are they going to be putting in? If it rains tomorrow and if we get 2 or 3 inches and that fills up, are they going to be pumping it out? Or
these are the issues that we want to resolve tomorrow. That the maintenance has to happen. It's canceled because they're getting a briefing, and then
They'll be back, George.
I can help.
Go ahead.
Microphone. I just spoke with the Deputy Attorney General on this. I said, hey, the judge said we're to meet every day. I even take that to mean Saturday and Sunday.
I agree.
We want the meeting tomorrow, or you're in violation. And he said, you know what, Scott, you might be right. I said, I don't know what the reason was you canceled, but we want someone here tomorrow. There's a lot of issues we need to resolve. One of the issues was, he asked me, would it be, in our view, violative of the order if they continued to put the sand there for those walkways across? So once we get done with this hearing, the public will have to deal with this tonight when we can get to that. And so there's a lot of these issues. The points you're bringing up are great points, and we're going to try to deal with them tonight if we get to that point.
All right, and just one other point we may all want to think about. We all pay a lot of real estate taxes here. We should put in for some kind of rebate or damages to the state when this all boils over. Because every citizen pays a lot of money to enjoy this, enjoy the summer here, and we've been deprived of really what we pay for. So that's just something to think about.
Thank you. Thank you.
Maureen Roach, 106 South Kenyon, Margate, New Jersey, USA. Love my beach. I'm actually going to get emotional. I've been romping around since 1964 on that beach. And I don't want it to look like the North End. And I think there's enough of us in here to get our buckets and get our shovels and just fix it ourselves. Because I've been around to a lot of places on beaches, and this is the most beautiful beach with beautiful people and passionate people like Maury and others that I know that have grown up here. I mean, I won body surfing tourneys. I beach tagged all through college here. I went to Maloney's. I've been around. I even got to do Gables, So this is just a great place, and I love Margate, and I love Kenyon Avenue, and thanks for all your hard work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Kenneth Robinson, 3 North Frontenac. I guess I'm the last one here, unless anyone's in back of me. So I look at this, and I look at this picture, and I say to myself, do you believe this or do you believe your lying eyes? This is a disaster. I think there is nothing short of getting rid of the dunes and putting the sand back. I don't want to know about tunnels over the dune. I don't want to know about pipes going through the dunes. I don't know about pumping out water. I want the dunes to go. And if the dunes do not go, I will stand in front of a tractor to stop it. And every single one of us here should get our shovels and go out and shovel it back. And that's my feeling 100%. And that goes for the mayor and everyone sitting here. Together, if we stand together, we can get this job done. This is a disaster. It should never have happened. And they had their chance. They had their chance. They messed it up. It's our turn now. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Rick Clausen, 9300 Atlantic Avenue. John and Scott, Maury, I know these are my classmates from 1970 Atlantic High. How you doing? Maury, I know your family too. I have a couple questions. One, there is a dune on Adams Avenue. I understand that 8th graders constructed the dune out of Christmas trees. There's Christmas trees under the dune. Excuse me?
Yeah. 4th grade.
4th grade. Hasn't washed away. It's been great. It's there. Why doesn't the Army Corps of Engineers take a look at those dunes and find out how to do it?
They took down the dunes, Parkway,
They bulldozed them down.
They took them down.
My next question is, where's our governor? That's what I want to know.
Sir,
you know what?
Sir,
Yes.
he is obviously on some other beach.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do, okay? Right here, if the news wants to put it out, I'm going to buy the governor and his family the best cheesesteaks in the country with the best bread. One provision. Take his family, whoever sat at Island Beach State Park, and they have to sit around the lake and eat the cheesesteaks with their lawn chairs. Plus the fact, said, we are not from Milwaukee. We're Philly sports fans, so please don't get in our faces. Okay? Thank you, Governor. The other thing I want to ask you is, I'm sorry, I want to tell the townspeople, I'm a little biased because I know you guys for 60 years. And the townspeople really, they may realize it, but they don't realize it like I do. We have the best people fighting for the city of Margate, and I want to thank you very much for what you do. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
My fingers are getting tired.
Kate Sidewater. I live at 119 South Exeter Avenue. I've been in Margate for about 30 years. And I want to thank the mayor. He's been very responsive to my letters. Back in July, when they reversed the direction of the dunes, I realized we were going to have a problem. So I sent a letter to the city, to the Army Corps of Engineers, to the DEP, to the engineer of the city, and to my engineer. The city responded immediately to me. It took a few more weeks until my daughter realized what was going on in front of our house on Exeter Avenue, that she called the hotline. Keith Watson, in the beginning, never returned my calls or never responded to the letters. Keith Watson called 2 days later after my daughter called the hotline, along with some other people on the line. I told him, he said, "What are your concerns?" I told him, well, number one, I'm looking out my window and I have a cesspool the size of a lake. And he started to laugh. He said, "What do you mean, there's human feces in there?" I said, "No, but there's about 100 birds in there defecating. There's stuff from the storm water drainage." And I said, "And there's mosquitoes. And we can't get to the beach." He said, "Well, he said, that's your opinion." I said, "Well, I think that counts for something." I said, "The second problem I have is that there's a fishing pier in front of me." And a month before that, I talked to the engineers on the beach from the Army Corps of Engineers, and they told me that the most important thing was for the dunes to all stay at the same level. and that the dunes would stay at the same level. So when it came to coming to the fishing pier, they went from 12.75 down to 10.2, then back up to 12.75, which will, if there's a storm surge, will funnel the water right into my property and my neighbor's property. He said, oh, don't worry about it. He said, you have some pilings underneath there, that'll cut it off. He did not respond. They lied all along, and now I had to get my own engineer to try to resolve this situation, because it is a problem. And I don't want the city to forget that on Exeter Avenue, this is the South Lake that has been created. And it goes for blocks and blocks and blocks. We have algae that is drying up now, but it's been a disgrace. And I just don't want you to forget what's happening in front of my house and south of Exeter, because it is just as bad as the north side. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Hi, my name is Mark Ulch. I live at 20 South Decatur. And I guess a couple questions that I have is, Mayor, you had mentioned something that a meeting was called off for tomorrow that they canceled.
It'll be rescheduled.
Okay.
Yeah, as of now, it is canceled. We think it'll be rescheduled before tomorrow morning.
Okay, so does that take us another day later? Or do we just lose
No,
that?
no,
We don't lose
no.
it. The meeting we have to meet.
We have 8 days.
Right.
The judge wants to see us Friday.
Right.
1 week from tomorrow at 1:30.
Okay. Also, with the heavy equipment that comes up Decatur, goes onto the beach, what would happen with that? How would they maneuver around if they do put the dunes up the way they have it on the north side?
I don't follow your.
In other
explain your
words,
question.
as far as the equipment that goes onto the beach to do their work, yes.
The city,
Right.
in the city,
Yes.
there are certain beaches that will have wider crossovers to get the equipment across. I think they're building one today. I think it's Delavan. Delavan has a major. So you'll be able to get over the dunes on, how many is there, Ed? 3, 4? Three ramps throughout the city, and then once you're on the other side, you'll be able to travel wherever you want to go.
Okay. Now, I'm lucky enough to live on Decatur, so we have that big ramp that goes over, whereas most of the streets, you have steps that you have to go up and down, then try to negotiate the dunes. I'm lucky enough to have 2 parents that are both in their 90s that have always loved to go to the beach. From seeing what they've done down in the north end, there's no way that they would be able to even go to the beach, let alone the water, with these dunes.
I believe there's a handicap. There will be a handicap accessible ADA compliant ramp there off at Decatur. And we have all our beaches, and we just ordered more. We have what we call our handicap chairs with the big wheels for the sand, and it's a 1 foot rise in every 25 foot. Ed, am I correct? For the ADA compliant? That's 1 in 12. 1 in 12. So it'll roll up relatively simple.
We've had this conversation. We'll get your mother and your father on the beach to the water. All you have to do is make a call.
Okay.
Call City Hall, we'll make arrangements.
Now, also, is there any way that Margate would be able to get any of their money back from what we've spent because of their screw up?
We're gonna try.
We'll try. Well, I can't answer that
Right,
obviously
I know.
now.
Okay,
No.
great.
Okay.
Thanks for your help, and
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate all the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Second visit. Quick question, and please correct me if
Would you restate your name, please?
Stephen
sir?
Earl Baum,
Thank you.
14 South Barclay Avenue, Margate. From the last thing I read, and maybe I'm wrong, but Army Corps of Engineers put out a list of where they were going to do this work. It was supposed to start Atlantic City, and I believe that started and is finished. Then they were supposed to do Ventnor, then Margate. Well, they did 2 blocks in Ventnor, I believe, and then went to Margate. What happened? Why did that happen?
Because they could. I don't mean to be wise. I question that. They said they spoke about that at a Corps of Engineers meeting, which is not true. And I said that to the commissioner, the deputy commissioner, and they came up with some sort of cock and bull story about missing a barge and all this. They've never really explained it. Actually, in today's hearing, Judge Mendez asked him, "Why are you here in the summertime in the first place?"
Yes, that's the best question.
Right. So, I guess my flip answer, because they can, is
Right.
about as true as I can tell you. It's
Okay. The other question and comment is, well, there was a lot of scuttlebutt, like the fix was in to punish Margate.
Well, we've all heard this. Margate's rumor city.
We call that Beachgate. That's Beachgate.
Yes. And I also wanted to tell the community, I don't know if they're aware of, but the last hearing in Camden District Court, there was a Judge Bumble.
Bum, B-U-M-B.
Bum?
Bum.
Good name for her.
I agree with you.
Anyway, I was there, as many other people were there, and I firmly believe that the fix was in there, that it was the government against the people, that she didn't want to listen or hear anything. She cut our star witness, a civil engineer for 50 years, Chuck Dutil. We predicted it, everything, he predicted it, and we predicted it a year prior to that. We had a video made that we put on YouTube, and if anybody wants to go see that, please go to YouTube and just type in Margate Dunes and you'll see it. But she cut Chuck off regularly, told him he was fantastical, and they had their own civil engineer who worked for the DEP or the Corps of Engineers, and he made up this whole scientific study that didn't address anything. And she refused to listen to us and was totally dismissive, and it was a disgrace. Thank you.
We appeared as a city before Judge Bum, before you did, and I agree with you. I better let it at that. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
But Mayor, we
Yes.
used your engineer today. And he was 100% correct. Wasn't that the engineer that Jordan used?
Jordan.
Yes, and
Your engineer was 100% correct.
He was-
We
he
used him
was-
today, and Judge Mendez believed him.
Good.
And Mr. Earlbaum, for the record, the city wants to thank you for your efforts back then when we went to federal court, district court in Camden, because I think you helped us expedite today the research that was done on your dollar was utilized today to help the citizens of the city of Margate. So that's-
Thank you very much. It means a lot. Appreciate it.
Good afternoon. I'm Stan Dubin. My wife and I have owned the property at 116 North Mansfield Avenue for the past 40 years. We came here not for the lush parkland on the eastern shore. We came here for the Margate beaches. And we have enjoyed every minute that we've spent there. And I think I speak for most of the people here that they have a love affair with the Margate beaches. In connection with what has occurred over the past several years, and your efforts to bring this to where we are today, to try to avoid continued problems that we're having, I heard applause for the grant of a temporary injunction, and I think that applause is well deserved. However, I'm a guy who likes to keep my eye on the ball. And the ball here, I believe, is the complete abandonment, and I don't know whether it is possible legally or physically, but I believe anything less than the total abandonment of the poorly conceived and even more poorly executed undertaking that has gone on over the past couple years, unless it would be totally abandoned and returned to the beach restored to a status quo ante, I don't think would merit any further applause under any circumstances from anyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Fishman.
Hi, Shelley Shell, 207. Thank you. I don't want to touch it. I'm not touching it because I'm immunodeficient, and I'm coming to get some questions answered.
Name and address, please?
207 North Douglas, Shelley Shell. Yes, that is my name. Yes. Get it out. Again, my concern as an immunodeficient resident, I am scared to go into the water, even the ocean, because I'm sitting there on Douglas and I'm seeing this cesspool being pumped into the ocean. I don't know how long, if it does evaporate, how long those organisms are going to stay alive. I can end up in the hospital. I can end up dead, as other people that have cancer, children. What is the city going to do in the meantime? We're getting rain again. It's going to fill up again. I feel like there's a Band-Aid being put on this, and we're not getting any answers. I'm scared to go in my own ocean.
Well, as you know, and we test this water as needed. It's standard to be tested once a week. We've probably tested the waters 4 days this week so far. And as long as that needs it, we will continue to test the water to make sure that you people are safe. I mean, we have the same concerns that you do.
Don't feel like I'm safe at all. I really don't. There's no answer as to when it rains again. It's obvious. There's heat, there's sunshine, bacteria grows, it's proliferative. And nothing is being done. I know that prior to these closings, these numbers teetered on the edge of being dangerous. And by law, you guys had to close the beaches down. Why were we not notified when we were, at least at that point, for your people that are here, the elderly, children, immunodeficient? Why were we not notified until it was, the sky is falling?
I think those numbers are posted on the website.
They are.
They are available.
And they're not there. Our numbers were always well under the standards. There's two standards. The County of Atlantic has a standard of 104. The federal EPA has a standard of 400. We never got close.
Anywhere close to those numbers.
Or else,
they are on the website. They're available every day.
Well, I can tell you on our beach, on Douglas Avenue, 2 weeks ago, before they even got to our beach was closed. The lifeguards were not letting people in because they said bacteria levels. That was not noted anywhere on site. I look for those things. My life depends on it.
All our beach postings, every day, the chief calls me, we make the decision between 9 and 9:30 in the morning. Every closing was precautionary. I didn't want to take a chance. It didn't mean that the water was polluted. It was the issues of people crossing through the swamp. That when, even though the numbers in the swamp didn't come up to any severe level, just water.
2,000's not severe?
No, we never had any 2,000. Who told you that?
In the swamps?
Not in the swamp.
No, that's not what I hear.
No. I'm sorry. I've read all the criteria, and there's never been 2,000 that I saw.
So in the meantime, there's a small child that was in the hospital that had problems, and you have a lifeguard who is fighting a bacterial infection right now because of this.
And can I?
Okay, right. So
can I finish up what I was saying to you? Our closing the entrances to the beaches were precautionary because we didn't want, as a city, people walking through stagnant, still water that has been there.
So I'm assuming next year we can turn in our beach badges for gratis beach badges? I'm done. I just wanted health-wise. I'm just concerned. That's all. Thank you for giving me no more information than is already out there. but thank you.
You want all the reports? I have them on my phone. I can email them to you.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Glenn Klotz, 118 North Barclay Avenue. First of all, I was at the court today, and I would like to thank everybody, particularly Scott, who gave a tremendous impassioned speech. I never thought I'd ever see, boy, Scott.
Doesn't the world turn?
The world does turn. See that? Okay. So here's what I'd like to say, and this is also referring to Scott because he'll remember this. Some people in here are saying that it's a fantasy that the DEP will correct the mistake, but Scott knows better than that, and so do I, because in the spring of 2005 in Ventnor, there was a terrible mistake. There were storms that May. Scott remembers it. We all remember it. And the mayor, Tim Kreischer, at the time I kind of laughed about it, but now it's not so funny. He did the right thing. He put a bulldozer on the dune at Avon Avenue and started to tear it down. Why? Because the dune all the way to Fredericksburg Avenue was cliffed and you couldn't get on the beach. And he knew immediately that was disaster staring Ventnor in the face. Now, I don't know what happened. Scott knows. I don't know. It went behind the scenes. The next thing I know, down there, and that thing is being torn down from Richards Avenue to Fredericksburg Avenue. Okay, so if the DEP tries to tell us they don't fix mistakes, they do fix mistakes. They did it here. And then that berm, I don't like to call them dunes because they're not dunes. Okay, these are a levee or a berm, whatever you want to call it. It's artificial. Okay, a dune is a natural structure. These aren't natural. They tore it down, and it stayed that way until about a month ago. Okay, and I would just like to say, if it comes up that they say in these deliberations that, you know, we don't take these things down, it's a lie. It's just a simple lie. We've already seen them do it.
Thank you.
Wait a minute, I missed.
Good afternoon. My name is Celia Doyle. I live at 22 South Decatur Avenue. And I've been a resident, permanent resident since 1961. I just want to thank everybody here for the job that they've been doing. And I especially want to thank Frank Raschetti and his crew for the wonderful beaches that we've had all these years.
Thank you, Sheila.
Dr. Don Krat. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you, sir. Right ahead.
Is that Adio? Is that Adio? Good Lord.
Age before beauty. I get that all the time.
What's he, skydiving?
My name is Adio Santori, 105 South Iroquois Avenue. There's two things that I think I wanted to mention here. One, the quality of what they're pumping in. It's a gravelly type of a busted up shell. That's shell fragments. It's not really sand. I don't know if you've ever addressed that with these people, but it should be. Secondly, there was a little back and forth here about whether Margate has the pumps to pump the water out. Should it get on Douglas Avenue? Well, of course, we have a lot of streets that goes from Fredericksburg to Coolidge. And I think that we should not, in the contracting negotiations you're going to be going with, obligate ourselves, Margate, to pumping out anything. Those pumps are expensive, they're labor intensive, and it's not our obligation. If they create it, they have to solve it. And I think that's about all I have to say. But for the people that say they know all you guys, I've known you all. I built my house 48 years ago. I put a basement in it. The only time I got water was during Hurricane Sandy or Storm Sandy. So, and I graduated high school in 1945 with Maury's father.
Dr. Don Kratchman, 7603 Atlantic Avenue, Margate City. We talk about global warming. We talk about the rising oceans. We haven't talked about that Margate probably had, through all the travels that I've done elsewhere, the most pristine sand in the world. This sand is not pristine. Even if we tear down the dunes, which I hope we do, and I'll be happy to have my 4 grandchildren come with me with their buckets and shovels, the sand is never going to be the same. This is an ecological disaster. This sand that they have pumped will decompose over the next 4 to 5 years. We will not have pristine sand, maybe for 3 to 4 years. And everybody should think about that as to what we had and what we will probably never, ever see again.
Ma'am, before you start, we've got to take a 2-minute recess. Okay, we'll be right back. Okay.
Should I put that 2 minutes on the clock? No. My hand's killing me.
Well, I talked to the deputy attorney general and said, hey, you're violating the court order. Well, I think they're going to hold the meeting. I hope so. Yeah, but what it's going to come down to is they're going to come up with some drainage. It's not to eliminate the dunes. That ain't happening. As much as we want it. What's this? St. Augustine. St. Augustine. He didn't go. He didn't go to St. Augustine. All right. So, Abby called.
Got enough to report about this?
What's that? He said,
Stretch my legs.
Step to the microphone.
Thank you.
Your name and address, please.
My name is Lee Richards, 9517 Atlantic Avenue, Margate. And I don't want to repeat everything. It's been a most interesting meeting. All the points of view, all the information. Thank you, everybody, for your hard work and your passion. I just want to speak on behalf of the handicapped people, the disabled, the elderly, and we have many in our neighborhood, and the people with the little kids. We fought for many years to get handicap access to the beach. And I saw last night what they consider access to the beach now. They're building railings over the dunes. Nobody will be. What's the point of saving the island if the people can't go to the beach? And I want everybody to please keep that in mind as a major consideration. That's it. I'm done. Thank you.
That you had to wait all that time. I'm sorry.
From the beginning, it was important.
Anybody else? Hi.
Helene Swirsky-Holst, 104 South Delavan Avenue. I grew up here on Claremont. Mrs. Blumberg was my 7th grade math teacher. And my question is the TRO that's in place only for future work, or will the Army Corps be here, as my neighbor on Delavan also asked, to pump out the water if it rains again? Rain is predicted Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We've lost our beach for the entire month of July, and if they leave, we'll lose the entire remainder of the summer. So
We think, and that's why we had to convene for a minute, we think that they have to maintain the beach. We're not sure, so as soon as we get down here, we will be back in touch with their lawyers, our lawyers, and we'll have that ironed out before the end of the day. Okay?
And how will where will it be posted?
We'll
How can
put it
we
on the
know?
website.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
What is the website?
Okay.
City of Margate. Margate-nj.com.
Okay. Hi, Joan Castronuovo, 16 South Argyle. Just curious, what can we do other than show up at meetings? And is there anything that we should be doing as citizens of Margate to put pressure on whomever?
I think by being here and participating and all of us together, they get the message. They really do. And I think that's the
But would
best
it-
thing you can do.
But can we put
Yeah.
more? Send more messages to
You can
whomever?
send letters or whatever.
I
you do.
loved the idea of contacting the lieutenant governor. I thought that was a great idea.
Okay, but
Certainly I'm
unfortunately,
gonna do
I'm
it.
not a permanent resident of New Jersey, so my vote,
I think just an email, I don't think it matters. You're a visitor to our city, and I don't think it
okay,
matters.
other than the lieutenant governor, any suggestions of other?
Phil Murphy.
She's not on the record. I need, Sharon, you need to be on the record if you're going to speak.
Yeah.
That's okay.
We're used to it.
No. Go ahead, sir.
Todd Lewis, 111 South Iroquois Avenue. Just want to start by saying thank you to everybody on this commission for your tireless work against this project. I've had the pleasure of talking to a lot of you. I was at the federal court hearing that my neighbors financed that actually helped us today. So appreciate your work and also appreciate the work of the private citizens, the Down Beach Buzz, the Margate Commission against this project, and everybody that's actually doing everything they can. So thank you. One of the questions that I had for you, with obviously the ruling today and the judge a little aggravated at the credibility of the Army Corps, the fact that we can testify, what their attitude was, when one of the citizens contacted them, basically laughing that there was a problem today, and their arrogance throughout this project. I hope that if they're not willing to listen to a plan without the dunes, are we prepared to go and say to the judge, we have an alternate plan that doesn't have dunes, that supports the dunes structurally on each side for the towns they want it, Ventnor and Longport, maybe still lets them extend the beach, but is a credible plan that we can say that our credible engineers works without dunes? Do we have that sort of plan ready? And if not, can we get something like that ready?
I don't think we're 100% ready. We have talked about some of the things. Ed, we
We could get something put together.
cool. That's good. Okay.
I think that would be prudent to be able to present to the judge, here's an alternative plan that we know will work, and the Army Corps and the DEP won't work with us, and literally stress, their arrogance throughout the whole project. Thank you.
Breaking news, tomorrow's meeting is back on, so.
Hey guys, Vaughn Reel, 6 North Mansfield, former mayor, former co-executive director, MCQBP. Brief statement and 2 questions, and I'll wait here for the answers to the questions in case you need clarification. Statement, everybody's focused on drainage right now. I know you guys are focused on drainage. I would just ask that you guys, whenever you get the opportunity to talk to the media, to talk in court, to emphasize that there are many problems other than drainage. There's drainage, there's elderly and handicapped access that will soon become an issue as the beaches are reopened and people have to get up and over the bulkhead, across the dead area, and then up and over the beach. We've taken 20 handicapped access points down to 4 when this is done. After that, which will soon likely come, if the experience of other communities with similar profile projects materializes, will be increased water rescues, increased spinal and neck injuries. Following that, which will come, and this goes into the first question. Oh, by the way, before I get to that, when you are speaking with the media, I know it's hard, please refrain from using ugly or view. Keep it health, safety, and access. Those are your 3 points that play in the court and play in the public opinion. View and ugly don't work. And it's nothing that MCQPP in 3 years of existence and arguing ever mentioned. Questions? I know currently we are not obligated, my understanding from talking to some of the commissioners, that we are not obligated to join future replenishment. However, in the case that the sand in front of the dunes erodes to the point where there is no place to sit, which is part of the plan, that's why it gets replenished every 4 years. If the sand erodes to a point where there's no place to sit, yet it is still not considered a health or safety hazard, do we have the authority to alter, manipulate, or otherwise bulldoze those dunes so we have a place to sit? If we don't, then the option that we don't have to replenish is a red herring. It doesn't mean anything because you have no place to sit. So the question is, do we have that authority in writing, that authority in writing from any appropriate authority?
Only in the event of a public safety hazard can you, under federal regulations, touch a dune.
Okay.
Only under that condition.
Okay. So therein, I would tell you that when we talk to people, when you talk to people and say we're not obligated to replenish, you actually are obligated to replenish. Because if there is no sand in front of the dune to sit on, then you must partake in the replenishment or you have no beach to sit on. In which case, if there is no federal funding, the full bill falls to Margate, which is in excess of close to 30–40% of our current municipal budget. Second question. And guys, I'm not throwing you under the bus, but I want to make sure you're thinking about this stuff because we've been talking about this for 3 years.
Can I just interrupt 1 minute?
Sure, Maureen.
So what's your suggestion there?
My suggestion is when you're talking to a court, to the judges, or to anybody, you keep bringing up the point that, look, it's great that we don't have to replenish, but if there's no place to sit, we need to be able to manipulate these dunes. Otherwise, what could happen and what should happen, the dune will erode to the point where you have a cliff, you declare it's a safety hazard, and then you bulldoze the damn thing.
There you go.
But it could happen, guys, that you have a whole summer where you've got no sitting area if the next nor'easter doesn't come through. It's the only reason why I say keep asking, keep pushing that point, okay? The other one, this one I'm not throwing you under the bus. I want to make sure you're thinking about this.
Point.
Yeah.
Before you go to your question.
Sure.
Through the chair. Good point. And
Thank you.
it's been brought up every time, and every time the answer we get from the DEP is you'll want to participate. That's what they tell us. You'll want to. Even though we've emphasized, and we have it in writing, which Scott wrote the document, that we never have to participate in the next 50 years for any, they always say, you're going to want to.
Yeah,
Do you
you're
believe
going
that?
to you're going to have to is what they're saying. It's what's the definition of is.
We've said it here ad nauseum and in these discussions. The issue is, as I see it, if and when that time does come, and we're not part of this project, will we then have to foot the entire bill? Could they say, you know what, we're pumping sand in Ventnor, we're pumping sand in Longport, you are not part of this project, you get no sand, we have no beach, now we have a $7 million bill, and forced with going to jail if we try and bulldoze down the
That's the other side of the coin, Warren. That's the absolute other side of the coin. So the last question is, and again, I'm not throwing Frank and I'm not throwing Chief under the bus, just need to make sure that you guys, it's now apparent, and we were saying it for 3 years, you're going to have two beach areas, a front beach area and a large back beach area, and they're both almost equivalent in size. Have we started modeling, and what is the estimate for the additional cost to maintain, clean, and secure two beach areas? Because you have to maintain and clean the back of the dune area, the front of the dune area, and you have to police the front of the dune area and the back of the dune area at day and at night. And that's why we kept saying this is not free. Have we done any modeling or any talk about that yet?
We have,
Okay.
and we have discussed it. We discussed it with them, and they refuted it and said there is no additional cost. If there is any additional cost, it's minimal. They're so unbelievably hard to deal with.
Okay, well,
You know
this really happens in our chamber. Maureen, and I appreciate your response. This happens in our chamber. It's our beach, it's our police, it's our public works. If we haven't yet, I suggest that you guys try to start putting pad to pen so you don't get a rude awakening come next budget. Okay? Thank you very much,
Good
guys.
point, Vaughn. We'll begin looking at that. Thank you.
Dan Gottlieb, 407 North Nassau. I had to write some stuff down as everybody was talking today, and I wanted to just shine a light on a few things. First of all, I do want to thank all of you for a fantastic job today. I did listen to the proceeding. I think Ted Greenberg had it streaming live on Facebook, and I thought our attorney, Mr. Rand, did a very good job, but I thought Scott, through a very impassioned and personal light and in different terms than Mr. Rand did. And I think that went a long way, Scott, in helping with today. And so thank you very much. A couple things I heard in that hearing today that really threw me for a loop. I thought our side was very honest, didn't exaggerate, didn't stretch the facts. I thought their side was disingenuous, and I felt that they did stretch the facts. And the one thing that really struck me, and I couldn't hear the whole thing because of some interruptions at my office while that was going on, but was that a once-in-a-100-year rain event we had Friday night that they tried to...
They tried to say that.
Well, if that's a once-in-a-100-year rain event, the once-in-a-100-year rain event happens about every 2 weeks around here. And that was pretty startling to me. And I don't know how we accumulate meteorological data to refute that if they maintain that position. But I think we have to, that was really one thing that threw me for a loop. What are we thinking? Because in the last go-around, when we had a referendum to see what we would spend to try to keep this Doomboggle off the beach, we did have a cap, as someone mentioned earlier, that started at 200,000 and went to 300, thanks to you guys pushing the envelope a little bit on that. And I appreciate it, but I still think 300,000 was like trying to fight in a gun battle with a knife, and we were definitely shortchanged a little bit. What are we thinking about in terms of, and Mayor, I heard you yesterday on the news say up to $25,000, but I also heard you say yesterday that you didn't care, I shouldn't say didn't, I don't want to put words in your mouth, didn't care, but that you were prepared to spend a lot of money to keep this off our beach.
I don't recall saying that.
Okay, I thought maybe I'll have to listen to the tape yesterday, but I thought you said whatever is necessary. Do we have any ordinance or anything that prohibits us from, because this could wind up beyond state court. This could go to federal court, I imagine.
Well,
Pardon me, Scott?
first off, Scott, wait 1 second. Dan, first off, we're not discussing money tonight. That we have to work on. What we did is establish to go forward with the temporary restraining order, and that's where we're at right now. So there has to be discussion between the commissioners at this point to see where we go, because what the outcome of the next week of discussions is going to determine where we're going to go financially from there.
Okay.
So it's really not on the table right now. We're just
I understand.
at one point, because we're talking about taxpayers' money and we have to be prudent, and we have a fight on our hands, and we understand that.
Right.
We're going to go in the right direction, but it's too premature to discuss.
I understand that, and I just would
We have
hope
a
that you'll...
budget- We have a budget that was struck.
Yep.
And we're in financial dyers right now.
Right.
We got hammered by the county tax rate increase.
Mhm.
Our taxes stayed very stable in Margate, but the county came back with, what was it, 8.5%? 8.5%. So our tax bills are going to change,
Yep.
not by us, but by the county and the Atlantic City.
I appreciate the position that puts you in, and I understand. I was really struck by Mr. Berger's conversation up here today, and how the economic impact on our town and our public relations and our media. So I think expending dollars almost, not obviously unlimited, but at a high level would be very critical to saving our town in this situation. I want to also put a highlight on one other thing, and then I'll finish up because I know I'm getting near the end of my time. But the people from Fredericksburg to Huntington Avenue, a lot of those people stood up today and said that they have a serious issue. And I just want to put a highlight on that. That they only have a month left, and I think we need to really talk to the DEP, the Army Corps, and our own internal public works people and figure out a way to save the summer for them and all their friends and relatives. I think there's two factions of people, and then I'll finish up. There's people that think, and I heard this in the court today. I think, Scott, they asked you, did something go wrong? The judge asked you, did something go wrong? And you said, yes, Judge, something went wrong. And I do not take exception to how you conducted yourself and how you answered that question. I think you did a fantastic job. But I think everything went exactly according to plan. Everything that we said was going to happen has happened, and then some. And I would just like to shine a light on the fact that this is not just a drainage issue. It's a big issue. It's a big, big issue. But there are a lot of other things that are part of this, and this is something that's very, very deep. And I don't think something went wrong. I think everything went exactly as a lot of us here today thought it would. So thank you for your time. And one last thing, I just want to thank Vaughn, and I want to thank Sharon, and I want to really thank Glenn, because Glenn opened my eyes to this about 20 years ago. I was walking to the beach one day, and he said, "You can't believe what they're doing." I said, "What are they doing?" And he started to explain it to me. And Glenn really saw a lot of this many, many years ago. And, you know, he studied it, and he really nailed it. And I want to thank him, and I want to thank the engineering people that Mr. Earlbaum hired, because just amazing how accurate they were and how much good information they gave us to share with you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan.
I know I was up before, but I was very short.
Your name and address again for the
Okay,
recording, please.
Celia Doyle, 22 South Decatur Avenue, in Margate. And even though your equipment wakes me up, it's my alarm clock, 6:30, between 6:30 and 7 o'clock every morning, but that's okay. I have a request. If the governor admits this mistake,
That's a big if.
And Miracle 2 is what?
and decides to remove the dunes and really address the situation that is the problem back at the bay, okay? Don't get the Army Corps of Engineers involved in it. That's all I have to say.
Carol Armand, 4 Dolphin Drive. I'm like the beach supervisor. I'm down there walking, talking to the guys, and I see what they're now putting, the orange stuff that they use for the paths. I live right near the library, right there. They're putting it in the swamp in front. They're filling it up. This is going to turn, it turns ugly, it turns awful. And if this is what they're going to fill this with, how do we stop them? Is there a way to stop them? Can our beach street?
It's the ramp.
No, it's coming down. They're putting it down into the ditch. Because so people, I guess, can walk. The playground is right there, so I don't know.
Yeah,
But
there shouldn't be.
It's a ramp.
Unless they're intending to take it out.
and move it to a ramp. I don't know. But today they are piling because it's right there. They were building the dunes after the stoppage. You know, we got the good news. 2 hours later, I was down there, and I just walked through from the steps. And I walked through, and the guard is there. I'm talking to him. He's my friend. And the guy came up in his little truck. And I said, "You're supposed to stop." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "There's an injunction." He said, "We didn't get any call about it yet." I said, they're all on their phones. You haven't heard this?" "No." He said, "We have to get it in the mail." So I said, "Is the postman coming down here? Maybe on Monday you'll get the letter." But anyway, next thing I know, the lifeguard comes up and starts talking to him. The truck came up, starts talking to him, and the lifeguard comes over to me. I guess it was he said, he wants you arrested for harassment. So I just want you guys to support me. You've been terrific in everything else, but that's what I want.
Carol, I will get you out of jail if it takes the rest of your life.
Will you bake me cake? Bring me something. Okay, but does our beach department, do they have the right to take out this yellow stuff, this orange stuff? And mosquitoes, I'm a gardener, I'm outside all day long. The mosquitoes are really getting bad on Huntington. You can't spray, I don't know what you can do. They're really, because it's green now in front of the library. It is green. So I don't know if anything can be done.
We'll look into that, Carol. See if
Okay.
Okay, sure.
But if I'm arrested for
I'll get you. I'll come visit.
harassment.
They have to give her a get out of jail.
Oh, fast.
You'll have me, Scott.
Hi, guys. Mark Newstadter, 415 North Lancaster Avenue, Margate. Formerly from Fredericksbury Avenue on the beach block, but we're not here to talk about that. I talked about that at a meeting about a year ago when I said the beach has been the same for 50 years here. I don't know why we're all doing this. But I got off of work a little bit late, so I didn't know if anybody offered this suggestion. I was here yesterday and I listened to a lot of people. There's a lot of people that had hardships, with young kids and handicap situations, and they can't get to the beach. So we've lost half of the beach for the summer. I mean, even if the beach is open, you can go down there and you can see where there should be 200, 300, 400 people. There's 10 people, there's 15 people, there's 20 people. So you can't get to the beach even though the beach is open. So I was thinking, you guys are doing a great job, and we're all in this together, and we all want to, get the same good result at the end. If somebody suggested this, you could stop this. But to be a little proactive, the hardest thing to go into the beach is driving to the beach and parking. And the other part is you can't go to these beaches. So maybe we could get creative and see if there's some kind of trolley that could go up and down Atlantic Avenue to take the people from the north end if they wanted to go to the beach to the south end, and kind of help them out that way, because it stinks. The whole thing stinks. So I don't know if anybody said anything like that, but I do know that I think some of the towns might have implemented something like this when they had the same hardship. Anyway, that's basically it.
Cool. Thanks,
Thanks,
Mike.
guys.
You bet.
Sharon Simon, 424 and North Thurlow Avenue. Just two quick things. One is that we're actually lucky that it happened when it did and that we had a rainstorm, because had they come in September or October, no one would have realized that there was this problem. We would have had this whole dune and they would have been gone. The other thing is, I don't think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think the Army Corps has put up a dune system when there was already a bulkhead system. So is there any science at all what happens when you have a bulkhead and a dune? I don't think so. Part of the problem. Thank you.
Maybe the last speaker, Mark, so bring it home, baby.
Okay. Hi, I'm Mark Rubin. I live 117 South Osborne. I want to thank everybody for the efforts you did today. Thank you, Scott. Really came through for us. 2 years ago, I came here and presented evidence from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers that a bulkhead and a seawall were by far the best protection system that a town can have. How we ended up with that system and the dunes, we all know. It's a money grab. And it's a political ploy for people to get paid off. We all know it. Nobody has said it, but that's basically where we're at. We've had our beaches at this point raped. Our way of life is at stake in this town. It is what we know. It is our way of life. It is everything that we live here for. and it's about to be taken away from us, stolen from us in front of everyone. And I'm just here to ask you, no matter what it takes, no matter how much it costs this town, you have to go to the end. You have to spend the money. You have to save us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Well said. Come on, say please.
30 seconds. Stan Silverman, 108 South Douglas. Sorry. Thank you, Mike. An excellent idea was offered today, and that is the proactive idea that when you guys go back into court, we have an alternative. And the alternative is that we take money and we beef up the bulkhead system, which is what Judge Mendez turned down a year and a half ago. And as you know, I was sitting with you in court for 2 days when he did that. Today, he voted the other way. He ruled the other way. So maybe he's open to that. And if we get one of our engineers to present evidence that, in fact, for 50 years it's going to last and we won't have to replace these damn dunes and it's not going to screw up everybody's life, maybe he'll agree this time. So I think you ought to go in proactively with a plan rather than reactively be proactive with the bulkhead alternative. Thank you.
I would love if that happens.
Vince Castronuovo, 16 South Argyle, Margate. I spoke yesterday with you guys, and I just want to point out that a couple of emails that I've been harassing Mayor Becker with, one titled David versus Goliath, and the other, well, let's just go with that one, basically. And in that, it references the Army Corps of Engineers loss to Point Pleasant, New Jersey, Point Pleasant Beach, where the Army Corps wanted to put in dunes, and Point Pleasant Beach fought it, and instead won a jetty and bulkhead system. So I think there's legal precedent there that we need to look to. And in the email that I sent you, I don't think everybody else is on my email chain, but it references two different sites where you could get information, one from 2014 and the other from 2017. And I suggest that we look at those as legal precedent. Thank you.
So I gave that information to our attorney today. Mr. Rand has that.
Oh, good.
Okay.
All right.
So you're not harassing me at all.
Thanks.
Okay. Is there a motion to close public comment?
So moved.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Seeing it's a late hour, I think, can we agree on not doing department head reports and going to
right into business.
Okay. We will, is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
We will take a brief